And the Drapery is back for week 2 of the Standard Pauper Sealed League. And here's our booster. I chose M15 because Triplicate Spirits is probably the best card possible for us to get for our current version of our deck. But as you can see, we did not open a single white card. Chronostutter is strictly unplayable. Research Assistant is actually pretty good in sealed. It's decent. Blocks all the 2/1s and lets you own people in the late game with card draw. Peel for Malady is pretty good with Gray Merchant. Not too many good creatures to have with it, but kind of hard to use effectively a lot of the time. Too situational. Walking Corpse is good just to curve fill. Another Black Cat is fine. Card doesn't really trade that much though, and in sealed, like if I have a 2/2 and you have this, I'm probably just going to attack into it. And if you block, then I lose a card at random. Great. I'm probably going to lose a card at random anyway, but at least your guy's out of the way, and then I can keep attacking for 2. Guess it depends what you have in hand sometimes, but it's not that good. Inferno Fist is very good though. That's good in our red deck, so that makes our red-white deck a little better. And lets us play pretty aggressive. I like these green cards though. Verdant Haven if you're going deep, but I think these 3 green cards, just 2, 3 threes for 3 and an Elvish Mystic help put our green-white Convoke deck over the top. So for week 2, I built a couple different versions of our deck. Basically we're playing black-white splash green for Abzan Guide. Week 1, have the option to play white-red aggro as well. But I think I like these green cards enough that this was the build for week 2. So this deck has really good mana, has a dual land and evolving wilds. 8, 4, 7 planes. And basically just a ton of creatures. And that really helps when us convoke spells out like Triplicate Spirits and Willforge Golem. So now this low part of our curve is pretty great. Sedge Scorpion's great. Elvish Mystic ramps us. Soul is not the best, but it can actually gain a solid amount of life over the course of a game and just makes all of our convoke spells cost 1 less, so it's pretty fine in this deck, especially when we have Living Totems to convoke as well. Hopeful Eidolon's more like a 4-drop, never playing it on 1. Unless I have to, unless like we're getting beat down by 2/1s. We have no other gas. In this version, I think a 1/3 is fine because we don't have any other 2-drops. Voiding Satyr is great. So we're just kind of a ramp deck. We're trying to skip, clog the hero of the game, but skip right into this mid-late game as fast as possible. So now we have a bunch of 3-power guys. 3/3, 3/3, 2 3/2s. A little bit of removal in Pillar of Light, Divine Verdict still. Just more creatures, which makes these 2 cards, the Inspired Charge and Sanctified Charge, pretty much always just game over. Another big threat. So we have a lot of threats. We have like tokens to go small and evasive, ways to interact with their big guys, and a couple big creatures of our own. So it looks pretty good to me this week. The other build that I potentially liked was Boros. So it's a little less centric on ramping, but we get a couple more utility spells. We have the same kind of package with the white cards. So our creatures, instead of 3/3s, are potential 5/3 tramples. 3/3 trample, which could turn into a 6/6, an evasive creature, and a haste guy. A lot of the same 3/2s. So a little bit smaller creatures than the green guys at this part of the curve. These guys are a little bigger than the Living Totems, and the 4 spots favor red. The 3 spot, it could be favor red, depends what you're playing against, but green probably is a better 3 spot. Red has these trample guys. It's interesting. I didn't even put Inferno Fist in this deck. Probably should have. I don't have any heroic though, and I just played ways to protect my creatures and to lower curve. But I like just all these 2-drops as well, and then Bronze Sable makes Scrapyard Mongol better too. Probably could put Inferno Fist in here over something, especially since we have this Crusader. Since it's just like a 3-mana shock and heroic trigger. It's pretty good with this Enforcer too. So it depends. You can probably cut, one of these 3-drops or Willforge Golem or something. But anyway, that's the build. Oh, that's spoiler alert. Spoiler alert. That's for the week after. Okay, so let's look at this deck in action. So I'll just make another video for that, so stay tuned.